Hello everybody, it's Madison. I'm back with another card video. This one is in time for Halloween. I'm using some Fawn interactive dies as well as the new Frightful Little Bits stamp and die set from Hello Bluebird. I had started off with my images pre-cut and colored as well as the pieces I need for this interactive die. They are from the Double Slider Surprise die from Fawn. I had cut out the pocket, the two sliding pieces, and the track out of 80-pound white, and I also cut out the pulling bits, two pulling tabs, and the back pocket out of 80-pound black cardstock from Micheals. So here I am using my Distress Oxides to color these backgrounds that you will be seeing. So it's the front pocket and these two sliding panels. I'm using Twisted Citron near the bottom. Then I'm blending up to Blueprint Sketch and then Chip Sapphire to kind of make it a little bit darker. And then I go in with black Soot ink as I find it's darker around the edges to make it look more like a night sky. With my backgrounds fully blended, I am taking my Ganzai Tambi Starry watercolors. I am using the silver shade or the white shade, and I'm just using my water to activate them, and I'm splattering them onto my backgrounds to give it a night sky kind of starry feel. In my opinion, I also think like a brassy color would look really nice on this as well. It would complement the oranges in the card more, but it is what it is. It looks really good. It's fine. I'm also smooshing my black Soot ink onto my mat, and I am using that as splatter as well in the background to add more texture, more interest. Here I am scoring these marks that are imprinted on the panels when you die cut them, and I'm placing the 1/8 Sequoing or Be Creative tape, and I'm doing that on both of my pocket pieces. I'm also going to be putting this tape on this track mechanism on both sides, closest to the edges here. This tape is really strong, so I find it holds really nice for this mechanism. Next, I am taking a dog poop bag. I'm cutting off both the bottom and one of the side seams, and I'm cutting a strip to 2 1/4 inches thick, and I'm just taking one of those strips. I'm putting my Be Creative tape on this seam closest to the edge, and I'm removing it, and I will be wrapping this piece of bag or plastic, I suppose, around this track mechanism. You don't want it to be too snug or too tight, and you also don't want it to be too loose, to ensure that the mechanism works really nice. So I'm just rubbing that back and forth, making sure it's a good amount of tautness. And I'm moving the seam we created to the left hand side, putting tape over it, flipping the track over, and putting tape on the right hand side. These will be used for the mechanism later. I'm also putting my two pocket pieces together. I'm lining them up and folding the tabs over, just on one side. You don't want to seal the pocket yet. Next, I took this Recollections glitter cardstock, and I'm taking these two dies. They are the pocket pieces as well as the sliding panels, and I'm just cutting the lower portion of these dies. I will be using them to make grass pieces that I will add to my scenes. I'm also going in after that with these wavy grass borders from Fawn. I just ended up using one of them, and with those all cut, I will glue them to my scenes with the Be Creative tape again to ensure they have a really good hold, because they will be moving and you don't want them to kind of move around or get stuck. So next I start assembling my main track piece. I am taking my 2 sliding panels and I'm gluing them down. So I'm taking off that leftmost tape and applying one of my panels down, lining it up to the rightmost side, and then I'm flipping that over, taking off the right hand tape and putting down my panel face down. You don't want to see the good side, you want the bad side facing towards you. And I'm lining that up to the leftmost edge and ensuring that it's straight and it's got a good hold. So, then I'm just ensuring that the mechanism works. I did use some powder tool off screen to make sure that it's frictionless. Next I am taking off the release paper on the tape and lining up my track onto the innermost seam of the panels. And I will take off more of that release paper and I'll be shutting the pockets to ensure that it's a good hold, and then I'm just testing out the mechanism to make sure that it works and it's smooth for the recipient. Next I am taking these slider tabs and I will be placing them onto the edges of either panel so the recipient knows to pull these out, and also makes that a bit easier. And I also will be placing my scene out, just laying out all my pieces, making sure that I like the scene I'm building, and then I will glue everything down once I like it with the ATG gun and the Fawn liquid glue pen. So yeah. Next, I'm taking some black cardstock and my Misty, and I am also taking the Fawn Pick of the Patch stamp set. I am taking one of the sentiments that I like, which is Smile. It's Halloween, and I will be embossing that onto the cardstock. I initially laid out my curved banner die and then fit the stamp into that so that it kind of fits the die a bit better. And I'm using a white embossing powder, and then once it's cooled and melted, I will cut it out with my die cutting machine, and I will glue that onto the front of my interactive panel, I suppose. Next, I am taking this piece of printed cardstock. It is from the Spooky Halloween pack by Matt Stack. And I'm also taking this lime green cardstock and making a card base. And I will take my pattern piece of paper from before, and I'm going to cut it out with my Fawn rectangle dies, stitched rectangle dies, and cut it out. And then I'm going to mount that onto my background card base with my ETG gun. Next, I'm taking my slider panel and I will mount that to my card base with some foam tape that I had gotten from the dollar store. It's just thick enough that it makes it a lot easier for the recipient to grab and interact with the slider mechanism. taking a few of these Halloween dies. I believe they're from various die sets or Halloween add-on sets from Fawn. But there are these two different spider webs and a spider, and I'm cutting them out of a black cardstock, and I'm going to mount them behind my sliding mechanism on the card. I just felt like it seemed kind of empty on the outsides where the pattern paper is, and it was like all the action was going on the inside. It just felt kind of out of balance for me on the card. So I felt like adding these spider webs kept it spooky, but it kind of allowed the card design to look a bit more pleasing to the eye. Next, I am stamping a sentiment on the inside of my card. I am using my Misty and the same stamp set from before, which is Pig at the Patch from Fawn. And I am using the sentiment, "You're the pig at the patch, happy Halloween." And I'm stamping that on the inside with the Gina K Amalgam black ink. And I'm just making sure that my sentiment is fairly in the center. So, yeah. For the final touches, I am adding some of these iridescent stars to my background from Studio Katia, and I am gluing those down with multi-matte medium and the Fawn glue pen again, and I'm making sure to glue them down to the front pieces only. I am not gluing these stars down to the sliding panels, as then the mechanism won't work, or they'll come off and it'll just not make it run as smoothly. So as a final touch, I'm using a white gel pen, a sparkle gel pen, and a black glaze pen from Jelly Roll to add some more interest and clean up my card. And here's the finished product. If you could like and subscribe, that'd be great. And thank you for watching.